Can we just be real for a moment? This is not an album. It is a product. Now you're looking at me like, what? Of course this is an album. But what I mean by this is, what is the main intent of this collection? Is it the normal intent to encapsulate this era with stories of an artist's life at this time? Nah, that's too high of a bar. At the bare minimum, is it to serve as a respectable collection of music? Or is it to inflate streaming numbers and test demographics in what they can fool us into selling as country music? Safe to say, it's the latter. I'm not here to be moved or be delighted by what's present. I'm meant to consume as much as possible. So for the rest of the review, I will be referring to this record as a product, not an album. With that out of the way, yeah, this product blows. Majorly, if I'd say so. Do I really need to introduce Wallen? Like, y'all already know who he is. You've heard his songs, all the great ones, all the boring ones, and all the awful ones. It's rather unnecessary to summarize who is by and large the most popular act today, considering how much of a grip he has on the industry for better or for worse. I kind of want to go over the course of this review over the pun intended, dangerous notion this holds for the genre's future. And no, not in the racist echo blah chamber, nobody cares about that anymore, so do not even try bringing that up and trying to say I'm attacking him for that still. More so, the business end. Starting with 36 songs. Are you listening to me? 36 songs, and they didn't see the stupidity in it. Now, I went over this with American Heartbreak, but track lengths on paper is not something that's a problem with me. Hell, you look at my review for American Heartbreak, and the fact it was in my top 5 of last year, track lengths can be however long you want, as long as it serves a purpose in the album's intent/narrative. I'm not saying this product needed to be a narratively driven one, but it needs to be able to run well enough with great music to justify it. And for Zach, whose album is only 2 songs less, I'd say he did. The pacing wasn't perfect for sure, but much of the record kept up a steady pace, thanks to how high quality and differing the songs were in their subjects and sound, without sacrificing jarring inconsistencies. And with this product, no, it absolutely does not justify itself. We already established the intent of this product. And no, this isn't up to debate, it's just a fact. With how much filler and repetitive nature this product has, 36 songs are absolutely not necessary for this product, and I'd cut roughly 85% of this in order to get something of genuine good value. But anyway, I'll do the good stuff part of the review, so you don't have to waste 2 hours of your life trying to find good Wallen music. And yes, there are some good songs. In the realm of infinite possibilities, there was bound to be some good new songs in a 36-track product. The opening to the product is quite good once you get past the jarring tonal killers. I haven't talked about it, but Everything I Love sees Morgan dabble into 70s country, taking influence from the likes of outlaws like Willie and Wallen, in both the instrumentals and the rhythm, and as I expect from an earnest co-write, the melody is killer and it's up there as one of my favorite bangers of the entire year. It seems like 70s and 80s throwback seems to be on the rise with the upper echelon artists like Larry and Ernest in context of Big Loud, and I'm hoping we see more of this and less of... well, we'll get to that. The Eric Church feature, Man Made a Bar, is also pretty good. Basically takes the notion of God's creation process and applying it to how the human race decided to cope with sadness. Eric does a good performance and takes me back to his early 2010s recordings. It's a bit of a stupid song, but it's a good kind of stupid. Devil Don't Know, while a bit cliche with its story, has some nice steel sprinkled on top of a very restrained but sincere performance by Wallen. This was a really good song, and I really like the one particular line of what's keeping him up all night is what's keeping her up all night. It's more subtle than many would give it credit for. 98 Braves is up there as one of my favorite Wallen songs, and is one of the more creative stories on a breakup I've seen in a while, using the mediocre performance of the 98 Braves to describe the relationship between Wallen and a girl, using the details of plays to envelop us in this story of a love gone wrong, while also keeping things in an excellent cheeky tone. If you wanted something else besides a breakup song, I get that, but considering it's a breakup song, I personally think it took a tried and true story and spun it in a fresh perspective. Tennessee Numbers feels like a sequel to 865, even the sound of it feels like a continuation of that specific track. Lyrically not particularly special, but if you're going purely off how much of a vibe and enjoyable on the ears this song is, it's certainly one of the better ones. The Keith Whitley tribute was also really good. I think it did its references as good as I expected and didn't overtly rely on the references to produce a good song. I enjoy when Wallen uses more technique in his performances rather than just relying on intensity. Surprisingly, that shows much more nuanced emotion than just a fiery performance, at least in my opinion. Sue me, but F-150-50 is good. Yes, this is the 7th million song about getting a girl in the truck, but its nostalgic value combined with its cheeky joke of a 50-50 chance with F-150-50 got me. If you think this is another Silverado for sale, I'll give you that. But like I said, for the standard of Wallen, this was good. Days That End in Y and Don't Think Jesus are great rustic ballads and dive into that sound I want to see more from Wallen. Saw You Should Know, you already know is great, so I don't need to repeat much of what I've already said in the past. Dying Man is an acceptable closer with a story tying back into the more personal side Wallen rarely decides to show. Every song I've described up to this point is at the bare minimum good, either emotional, funny, or generally fun, and will probably be must-saves for any genuine country music fan, whether you love, hate, or are indifferent on Wallen. Regardless of my thoughts on the entire product, these are the songs I recommend you listen to as you scour this release. Okay, time to take off the friendly nice guy mask. This product is boring. When only 10 or so tracks are worth it and 26 are just there to pad out the runtime, this becomes one of the most tiresome and tricky listens I've indulged in a while. Nothing collectively bad, mind you, but I constantly checked my phone asking, how far am I? How many are left? In contrast to the first time listening to Zach's album, and just being delighted and charmed by how great and vast the world of that album was. One thing I need to cover right away among the long list of issues this record has is the consistency. There is none. The only thing consistent about this product is that it is inconsistent. The transitions track to track, especially once you get into the second third of this product, become abysmal. We go from bare-bone Chainsmoker emulation to 70s revival with Last Night and Everything I Love, modern contemporary to hip-hop with 98 Braves to Ain't That Some, U-Proof's trap monstrosity to the sincere Thought You Should Know. This is the transition from Don't Think Jesus to 180 Lifestyle. I swear to God, I'm not making this shit up. You can't get any idea of what tone this product is trying to give off because everything is so misplaced. It's as if they had 3 core genres of all this music and just put it in a list randomizer. Jumping from generic frat boy rock to rustic traditional country to suddenly being bombarded with demo beats galore. Inevitably, these songs don't feel like they come from Wallen's soul, a place of endearment or passion. They feel like songs his label wants to emulate from other artists, for better or for worse. Sometimes you get some good material depending on who's creating the song. Others are Chainsmoker ripoffs like Last Night, or The Weeknd, or even Upchurch, Young Thug. There is a Bailey Zimmerman ripoff called I Deserve a Drink. And keep in mind, Bailey Zimmerman himself is a Morgan Wallen ripoff. This man is ripping off his own ripoff, going full circle with the emulation. This sense of inauthenticity and inexperience with all these concepts forces me to question, are the songs I think are good coming from a genuine place? Or are they just the result of emulation meant to pander to my particular audience of genuine country-loving fans? I'm glad the songs are good and all, but I'm forced to question if they come from someplace genuine. That's how bad this issue is. I'd now like to go into the purpose of this product, because I think I've truly figured it out. Essentially, I think this product is a beta test for future Big Loud talents. Given the incoherent sonic variety on display, I believe this record was designed to showcase multiple sounds for other artists to encapsulate later on, put through the lens of the most popular country artist in the world who is too big to fail. And whichever is the most popular is who the label will be giving most of their resources to. In this scenario, it's the pop-hip-hop fusion, which is overwhelmingly the most popular sound on the entire product. So I'd imagine you're gonna see new and old faces start bolstering the sounds of songs like Ain't That Some, 180 Lifestyle, Thinking About Me, and Last Night, a lot more following this release. If I'm correct, it's such a shallow way to influence future acts and the next generation. If all your product is the largest focus group test ever concocted. Lyrically, this product doesn't fare that good either. Not necessarily bad, but many of these songs' writing feels rushed and underdeveloped, with many of them forcing themselves to rhyme the same word twice. Yay, how creative. When your length is 36 songs, you're bound to cover the same subjects. This is supposed to be the recovery point of Morgan's life. And when most of it is spent singing about, I'm a beer drinking redneck, or how another girl broke his heart and he's pissed about it, it gets tedious to say the least. Not bad individually, but when we go over the same subjects over and over again, the more I'm getting irritated. Thank God, there's some songs that actually delve into Morgan's actual life. With Don't Sing Jesus, Thought You Should Know, and Dying Man, they are what actively kept what little interest I had in finishing this product. As for the actively horrible songs, wow, it's the pop and hip hop ones. Who would have guessed? Now, I will admit on various fronts, Joey Moy has improved as a producer. Those notions are evident even on this product. But one thing he has not gotten better at is producing pop music. Not a single one of them are above a 4 out of 10, because most of them are of demo quality. With the exception of One Thing at a Time, all of these pop songs rely on already engineered shallow beats, with the only interesting one being sampled from a Young Thug song. Barely having the composition move or leap any higher than one note, there's so little going on in these tracks that you have to question, why didn't they add more? Like for Neon Star, I could see them add some banjo, maybe a fiddle, but I guess those instruments don't sell good on pop radio, so we can't have those. There's literally a Last Night remix that just takes Wallen's isolated vocals and places them on the instrumental for something just like this. Which really goes to show how out of depth Moy was, and the absolute laziness on display with much of these specific songs' compositional process. As for the rest, beyond F-150-50, it's all a blah fest of generic sounds Wallen has already tackled or is borrowing from the likes of Hardy. Not bad, but it all just blends together into this collective of forgettability. The only memorable moments are when it's either actively very good or actively awful, making for this inescapable chasm of mediocrity that is the middle portion of this album. Now, I know people are gonna come at me like, I'm just gonna get the good songs and save them to my playlist, that's fine. You're right. That is fine, it's what I'm gonna do, but don't come at me with how negative this review is when all you're gonna do is basically find the good songs and never revisit it. Doing so just gives critics of this album the green light to pan it. Don't complain when an album gets a low score when you have no intention to revisit in full ever again. You're subconsciously agreeing with me, basically. As a whole, this product was a waste of time. With the amount of pandering to various audiences, the fact it comes off as a focus group test, we get nothing new or evolved from Wallen as a whole, with little artistic merit behind any of it, and really, all of this leads me to this conclusion. Morgan Wallen is not an artist. And no, I don't mean he's not a country artist because he doesn't make country music. No. That's a rather silly and basic notion to take from this music, and redundant really given the admittingly traditional country songs on display from time to time. What I mean is that Wallen himself is not an artist at all. He's not someone trying to make the best possible music that speaks to him and his livelihood, someone who's just a mouthpiece to sing whatever the latest trends his label wants him to emulate with his established massive brand. There's never going to be a time where people aren't listening to a new Wallen song in droves. Sometimes it could be a good song like Keith Whitley, others it'll be garbage like Ain't That Summer Cowgirls. We can't get consistency from him because that's not what his purpose is. His purpose is to sell a brand, not display artistry. Most of these songs are not born from an artistic or meaningful place, and just a source of commercial gain. Yes, there's some songs on here that feel like they came from a place of heart, but clearly they're not the majority or even a significant minority. And even then, I question whether or not they were born from a place of artistry. I've seen people saying Wallen is becoming the Drake of country, someone who just releases massive products with rushed out lyrics, minimal effort and musical quality that boost streams and basically nothing else, with maybe a rare good song in between. And with this product, that's become painstakingly accurate. One Thing at a Time will become the most popular release in the world. His fans will defend this product with all the records it will break as if that's a source of credibility, but I think inevitably, it'll never be remembered as one of the best records modern country has displayed. Not in the same vein as Traveler, Golden Hour, or American Heartbreak. Extremely popular albums, sure, but that's not the basis for their impact on culture. It was their incredible quality which made them the most iconic, not inflating streaming numbers to compete with them. And I know American Heartbreak is just as long, but you know what I mean. It's all a joke. As for what I would rate it, why should I? I normally rate all the music I review no matter how bad, and this certainly isn't anywhere close to the worst of the year. But like I said, Morgan Wallen is not an artist, and One Thing at a Time is not an album. And how can I review an album and artist that doesn't exist?